is Joy News Prime.
Right, this is Joy News Prime, and my name is Israelite. Thank you very much for joining us. Coming up in the bulletin, investigations underway into accident involving a Starboard airline plane which overshot the runway upon landing at the Tamale airport with 76 passengers and crew. Newly constituted metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies inaugurated across the country. Lawyer for one of 7 High Court judges suspended for the alleged involvement in the judicial corruption expose challenges evidence used to implicate his client.
And in business tonight, World Bank drops hints delays in securing Eurobond loan could have serious implications for the Ghanaian economy.
Now all these plus more business, sports, entertainment, international news plus what you're saying on social media coming up in this bulletin, which is also available across Europe on ABN television. Stay tuned. Now, very first story, investigations have begun into an accident at the Tamale airport involving a Starboard airplane on Tuesday morning. The plane with 76 passengers and crew is said to have overshot the runway upon landing at the airport, crashing into a barricade in the process. None of the passengers or crew suffered any significant injury, but photos taken shortly after the accident show the aircraft's oxygen masks had been deployed. The front wheel of the plane also collapsed in the process, ditching the nose of the aircraft onto the tarmac. Member of Parliament for Tamale North, Al-Hassan Dramani, was on the flight which took off in Accra. He spoke about the experience on the polls. Now, there was a statement from the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority stated that no casualty was recorded, but it confirmed that the airline went through the runway at the airport and stopped. Deputy Director Technical at the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Mate, where Atoklo says a team of civil aviation experts are heading to Tamale to collect evidence and initiate investigation into the incident. They said the aircraft was taken through routine examination and that this, quote, is an unfortunate situation. The Tamale airport is still open to traffic. Now, the general manager of Starboard has apologized to the passengers who were on board the plane that was involved in the accident. In an interview with Joy News' Hashmin Mohammed, James Entry gave the airline's account of what happened.
Landed here this morning and the captain couldn't turn up the runway to the apron. He went straight through a barrier at the end of the runway. You know where they built a new runway, and the crash barrier. I went through a nose wheel. The nose leg got broken. The can't blind the nose leg. So the nose is broken, it's damaged. However, the aircraft moved for a while and stopped, and then the passengers were disembarked to the normal stairs. Nobody's hurt, nobody's damaged, nothing is damaged. The passengers have been taken to a and they've all gone home, so no casualties as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Have you been in touch with the pilot, and what has he been telling you?
Well, the pilot has given its report to the civil aviation. He's going to give a report to the company, and they will look at it. Now, I cannot tell exactly what is assisted to the civil aviation.
But does that make you feel bad with regards to your brand?
Of course, I'm really hurt. I'm certain about the whole thing. These things will happen and nobody's happy about it. I wish it never happens this way. And I pray that never happens again, because Starboard is working very hard. They're attaining so much talent, high standards, that these things come into spoil our brand, but we're not going to just rely on just press on it. We continue working hard to make sure these things don't occur to us again. It's really very sad and very unfortunate.
This is not the first time Starboard has been involved in an accident. Joseph Opoku Gakpo has put together this catalogue.
In August last year, a Starboard airline flight S9100 was flying out of Accra's airspace, headed to Kumasi, when one of the right-hand engines emitted a loud bang and streaks of flames. This prompted the crew to shut the engine and return to the Kotoka International Airport in Accra for safe landing. Airline officials said the aircraft suffered a technical problem but denied passenger reports of an engine fire. In October last year, a Takoradi-bound Starbow flight was forced to make an emergency landing back in Accra. This was after the aircraft's engine developed a hydraulic fault. 2 people were injured in the evacuation process. In response, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority grounded Starbow's fleet to allow for thorough checks. The suspension was lifted subsequently. In today's incident, the aircraft, which was landing at the Tamale airport, broke through the barricade at the end of the Tamale runway and stopped. No injuries were recorded. Interestingly, just last week, Starbow received an operational safety audit certificate from the International Air Transport Association as an endorsement of the airline safety standards. Starbow was also adjudged the Domestic Airline of the Year at the recent CIMG Awards.
We'll be doing a bit more on the Starbow incident, but we're moving on to other stories. And former board chair of the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, Al-Hassan Andani, regrets that the authority failed to execute much of its programs. He admits the SADA board failed in monitoring and implementing the program. He, however, denies allegations the project got him entangled in a conflict of interest situation. He spoke to Kojo Yangsing on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM.
Everything that was happened, that happened between SADA and Stanbic or any other bank was done completely arm's length, The data is there for everybody to see. I personally, as chairman, didn't have any hand to do with where SADA placed their monies within the banking sector. No. In fact, my colleagues on the board will tell you, what I canvassed for very strongly for SADA was to set up a SADA development bank. Because I thought the North or that SADA zone required its own development bank. That whatever monies were given would become the seed money, will get your likes of Africa Development Bank and all development institutions interested so that they could set up a SADA development bank to do that. So really, placing money with local banks, including Stanbic Bank, was only an interim measure done at arm's length. Interests were negotiated. I wasn't signatory to those accounts within, or negotiated any, interest rates on those things. So my big issue, my big plan was to see how we could evolve SADA to own a development bank so that it could mobilize deposits within the region, attract long-term financing from development institutions to really kickstart development within the zone. That was it. So it was unfortunate that this conflict of interest issues came. The other big issues that came were, as a board, you want to be sure that you are accountable, you are responsible, and you set up legal structures. So anything that happens, good or bad, you can come out and say, this was the legal structure within which these were done. And I want to believe that the board created the right legal structures, whether it was in the dealing with the tree planting exercise or the guinea fowl or any other initiatives that we did. They were all grounded on perfectly designed legal structures. Where we failed were the implementation and the monitoring. But these things were happening at literally breakneck speed.
Because you've explained that a lot of this happened at arm's length.
Yeah.
But the simple principle of conflict of interest, the fact that you were involved with an organization and their funds were being invested in another organization that you were involved in, did you consider that this, even though the practicality, as you say, may have been at arm's length, do you consider that the principle here was that there was a conflict of interest?
No, the principle, and it's not just like for any organization, even if it is a board, I sit on any board that does business, is to declare at the board or at places where decisions are taken that I do sit on this other board, and for that matter, you recuse yourself. To the extent that you do that publicly and allow the organization to take advantage of whatever organization they want to deal with, where you are sitting as a board. Once you recuse yourself and make that public, that addresses the conflict of interest issues. Because otherwise, there'll be too much complexities. One of the reasons they were looking at was, I think they dealt with Ghana Commercial Bank. We had a representative from Ghana Commercial Bank on the board. We dealt with ADB, we dealt with Stanbic, and because these are large, they have large distributions in the north.
How satisfied were you as a member of the board with the confirm have flown to Burkina explanation?
No. I think that it was an unfortunate explanation. That certainly was not the case. That was not the fact. But we had gotten sucked into a political whirlwind, and I don't think the wind has settled yet. So that certainly was not the case. It's unfortunate that we didn't get to the big picture that we're looking at. It's unfortunate, and I regret that. But I still think there's also an opportunity for people, and I trust the current leadership of SADA will make sure that they cover those things and achieve the objectives for which the original thinking was meant to achieve.
Not to belabor the point, but there are a couple of things that I'm hoping you can help us understand. And I did ask one earlier, although I'm not sure I got an answer, about why cut down trees to plant new ones. I mean, what was the strategy there?
I think nobody really, certainly not for the program. The program was not intended to go cut down trees and plant. But if you look at the agricultural practices within the SADA zone, it is often the case that the farmers bend the bush in order to crop the next year. It's also the case that people rely heavily on firewood for fuel, and therefore they would harvest trees, or shrubs to go and create this. And so part of it was to look at alternatives, preserve the ecosystem, improve the ecosystem with new tree cover.
You're watching Joy News Prime, and we're going back to our top story on the Starboard incident or accident at the Tamale Airport. We're joined now via Skype by Nane Akwada of the Bureau of Public Safety, and he has some thoughts on the incident. Good evening to you, Naneo.
Good evening, and good evening to your viewers.
All right, so what are your thoughts about this accident that happened involving the Starboard airline?
Well, let me say that it's very unfortunate, and I have also heard in some quarters the CEO describing it as a minor incident. I think that we at the Bureau
All right, Nanea, unfortunately we can't hear you. We've lost the... If you could put the earpiece back there. Yes.
Is it better?
Yes, it's better this way.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to hear myself. Basically, what we have said, that an aircraft, a significant incident as such, which has occurred and resulting in the destruction of an aircraft, I don't know how significant or how we can describe it as minor. Here are the statistics. Between 1995 and 2010, thereabout, America recorded about 1,300 aviation incidents, out of which 350 plus were runway overruns. It resulted in deaths running up into 600 plus. And I think that runway overruns are a serious incident, and we as a nation must look at it as such. Moving forward, what the Bureau, we have said since 2012, after the Nigerian cargo plane overran the runway and killed 10 people, 11 thereabout, we have called for the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Transportation, or the Minister of Transport, to establish an independent investigating body. We have called for this because whenever there are aviation incidents, significant incidents like this, what happens is that the regulator investigates the operator and investigates himself, and the operator investigates himself. And so as we move on, we are unable to get objective report of what happened. The public is denied the privilege, or if you like, the right to know exactly what went wrong. We are denied the right to know where the weak links are in our aviation industry, so that we can, as a people, rise up and fix wherever there are weak links to ensure that incidents as such do not recur. What we have been given by calling for an independent investigative body is from time to time when the incidents occur, they quickly put together a 5-man team, a 4-man team to investigate that particular incident, and at the end of the day, they release just a 1-page report to the public detailing what they think went wrong. But what we do not know is what areas did these people focus their energies looking at? Which areas did they spend time examining, so that the public and other experts who do not have the privilege to be on these boards can also contribute their quota. The public can also mark and follow up such recommendations that are made by these teams. And so we maintain our position that until, as a country, we institute a permanent independent investigative body, we will be nearing or inching towards a fatal crash. And we think that it is important that we do this, a body that will oversee the activities of the regulator, in which case is the Ghana Civil Aviation, and also that of the airlines, the operator.
All right, thank you very much. Nanaya Akwada is with the Bureau of Public Safety, and he was sharing his thoughts on the incident involving the Starbow aircraft. Now, I'm just going to take you through the release that we've gotten from the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority on this incident. It says Starbow aircraft overruns runway at the Tamale Airport. The Ghana Civil Aviation Authority can confirm that a Starbow airline flight number 110 from Accra to Tamale overrun the runway on landing at the Tamale Airport on Tuesday, 6 October 2015 at 8:31. The aircraft type is a British Aerospace 146 jet. There were no casualties involving the crew and 76 passengers on board. GCAA has dispatched a team of aviation safety inspectors to Tamale to conduct investigations into the cause of the accident. Meanwhile, the Tamale Airport has been open for air traffic. Updates will be made available as and when information is available. So that's the statement put out by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. You're watching Joy News Prime. We have a lot more stories coming up after this break. Please don't go away. You're watching Joy News Prime, and newly constituted metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies were inaugurated across the country today. At Accra Metropolitan Assembly, they swore in 112 members despite a last-minute court injunction. Joy News' Matilda Vermaga has more.
77 elected assembly members and 36 government appointees were expected to be sworn in as district assembly members for the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. The inaugural ceremony took an interesting turn when the AMA was served a last-minute injunction. The writ, filed by Jonathan Komi Otu, asked the court to restrain the AMA from swearing in Victor Finte Sykes, the elected assemblyman for Mudo electoral area. After much deliberations, officials decided to drop Mr. Sykes from the list of assembly members to be sworn in until the court issue is dealt with. The president of the National House of Chief, Professor John Nabila, speaking on behalf of President Mahama, urged the new assembly members to put the communities they represent first.
The centralization program has placed the former functions and powers of central government into the assemblies of the assemblies. As assembly members, you need to cooperate and work as an integral system in the exercise of these powers and in the discharge of your functions. You must be diligent, accountable, and responsive to the needs of your people. This way you will be able to provide good and well-managed educational, health, and water systems, electricity, good sanitary services, and also provide support for law enforcement agencies to enforce environmental cleanliness. Your calling to be an assemblyman entails a lot of sacrifice, which means submerging your personal interest for the public good of the area. This way, you can properly identify with your people and provide their needs.
The Accra Mayor Alfred Okuvandapoy cautioned the Assembly members to stop the needless struggle over the management of public toilets and other public facilities.
The purpose of the district level election is to enable members focus on the developmental achievements of their respective local areas and collectively the development of the AMA area of jurisdiction as a whole. You must therefore be strong advocates of development in your respective areas and not to resort to illegal activities such as assisting people to place containers on pavements and in unauthorized areas. Stop needless, countless or struggles over the management of public toilets and other public facilities.
Other speakers reminded the 112 new district assembly members of their roles in supporting government's developmental agenda at the local level. Matilda Pomaga for Joy News.
Upper West Regional Minister Amin Sulemana has tasked new assembly members to work together for the assembly's development. 44 members of the One Municipal Assembly were sworn into office on Tuesday. Rafiq Salam filed this report.
44 members of the One Municipal Assembly, comprising 31 elected members and 13 nominated by the government, had just been sworn in. They took 3 oaths of office: the oath of secrecy, oath of allegiance, and oath of office. Upper West Regional Minister Amin Suleimani, reading a speech on behalf of President Mahama, tasked the new assembly members, including 6 women, to work closely with the principal officers of the assembly to bring development to the people.
The designers of the local government system have built delicate checks and balances into the system. Accordingly, the principal actors, namely the district chief executive, presiding member, members of parliament, district coordinating directors, assembly members, councillors, unit committee members, the traditional authorities must respect the prescribed boundaries of their responsibility and rights and recognize that nobody is superior to the other. What is important is that you must all be dedicated, committed, and work hard together as a people with a common objective to develop your district.
Now that the 44-member assembly has been inaugurated, their major task now is to elect a presiding member who will steer the affairs of the assembly for the next 2 years. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
The eligibility of a presidential staffer to contest the NDC parliamentary primaries in Nimgo Pram is being challenged. A petition to the party's national executive says Sam George is unqualified to run against the incumbent MP for the area, E.T. Mensah. Kwacha Afrenuema of our political desk has been studying the petition and now joins me in the studio. Now, who are the petitioners and why are they saying that Sam George is... Who are the petitioners?
315 ward and branch executives of the Ningo Pram constituency, and what they raised 2 key concerns here. The first one has to do with his eligibility to contest in this race, and the point they are making is that the guidelines for the parliamentary election, and they quote Article 43 Clause 9 of the NDC Constitution, which states, among other things, that a person needs to be an active member at the constituency level for the 4 years immediately preceding the date of filing of nomination. And what they are saying in this regard is that Sam George picked up his party card in that area in 2012. So if you do the calculation, we're in 2015 now. He has 1 more year to, reach that requirement of the 4-year requirement. He's done 3 years so far. They make another point that he's been campaigning in the area, saying that he's President Mahama's candidate. He's the one President Mahama as the party's, the sole contender in this race for the flag bearership, sent him to represent the people of Ningo Pram. And they are saying that, again, on his posters, you see pictures of Sam George and President Mahama alongside. Yeah. And they say that this clearly flouts the party's own regulations, because the president is expected, in fact, supposed to be neutral per the guidelines of the party. And so they want the vetting committee to disqualify him. They've presented a petition today to the National Executive Committee of the NDC and the Regional Executive Committee as well. Sam George will be appearing before the vetting committee on Friday, and certainly this issue will
likely to come up. All right, interestingly, we have Sam George on the telephone line, and we're going to be speaking to him. Good evening to you, Sam George.
Hi, good evening.
All right, now how do you respond to these issues that have been raised against you? First of all, they're saying that you haven't been an active member in that constituency for 4 years as required by the constitution of the party.
Well, let me say a very good evening to your viewers and to your very good self. This is the essence of democracy, the different opinions, and everybody is entitled to share their opinions. I hold an opinion, and I believe that the right place for me to share my opinion.
Yeah, you're saying it's an opinion, but is that accurate? That's what the constitution of the party says?
I believe that the right quarters for me to make my case is the National Vetting Committee, and that I will appear before on Friday. I believe they have been served with a copy of this petition. I'll make my case there. My case will not be made on TV or on radio. It will be made before the National Vetting Commission, the National Vetting Committee of the NDC. All I'm saying is I know that I have fallen foul of no law in the party. I meet all the requirements. That's my position. I'll make my case before the National Vetting Committee.
In effect, you're saying that you've been a member of the party in the an active member of the party in the constituency for 4 years, as required by the NDC constitution.
What I'm saying is, just like the petitioners, you're entitled to form your opinion. I have made my opinion known. I will appear before the National Vetting Committee.
How about the issue that your posters has an image of the president on them, and you're supposed to be, the president is supposed to be neutral and supposed to stay aloof of all of this?
Barring any changes to the November 7th date, on that day, 275 parliamentary candidates will emerge, and one presidential candidate will emerge. There will be an election. There will be an election for the presidential candidate. Now, I'm not aware of any rule that bars candidates, parliamentary aspirant candidates, from campaigning for 100% endorsement of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I wait for anybody to tell me that it is a crime for us to campaign for an endorsement for our president and flag bearer and leader of our party.
Sam George, you're going into this November 7 primary with there are about more than 300 ward members of the party in the constituency, issuing or coming out with this.
You're mistaken. My constituency has over 14,000 registered members who will vote, not 300.
No. I'm just saying that about 300 plus ward members are raising this issue against you. You're not worried about it.
That's the beauty of democracy. They will all have a place on my campaign team after I've emerged as the parliamentary candidate for the December 7th election. I'm going to represent everybody in the constituency. There's space for them on the campaign.
All right, thank you very much, Sam George. Sam George is seeking to become the MP or the parliamentary candidate for the NDC in the Ningo Pram constituency. Kwacha Frenuama, is there anything to add to what the
well, we've been speaking to the party. As I spoke to Deputy General Secretary George Lawson. He confirms that the party has received this, and what is going to happen is that the vetting, even though it's been presented to the National Executive Committee and the Regional Executive Committee, the vetting committee will be presented with a copy of this petition, and they will drill Sam George on Friday on these matters that have come up. But one issue he raises is that there's absolutely nothing wrong with Sam George beg your pardon, campaigning or having images of president, and so that does not breach any of the party's guidelines. So what he has to do now is to prove that indeed he's been a member of the party at that level for up to the 4 years as required by the party's guidelines.
All right, thank you very much, Kwacha Frenuama. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break now. When we come back, we'll bring you business news. Well, it's time for Business in Etonam. Is here. Good evening to Etonam.
Good evening, Israel.
Because one of the big stories for today is the incident, the accident involving Starbow, and I can imagine that will have implications for their flight schedule.
Oh, no. We've been speaking with the CEO, and he says it won't have implications on the other branches, and so
Okay. So will they be flying
patrons,
to Tamale
as
usual?
They will. Patrons should be rest assured that they're still on the road. Yeah, but I'm sure you know issues with the World Bank. What is talking about the Eurobond, the fact that we're delaying, or government is asking for some time to be able to raise the 1.5 billion.
Do we have the time on our hands?
Well, apparently it's going to be having some serious implications on the city.
All right.
See. All right. Now, the World Bank has admitted that delays in issuing the Eurobond will have some serious implications on the economy. Government last Friday announced its decision to extend the period for raising some $1.5 billion from some local firms and investors outside the country. This was after it ended its engagement with investors without raising the required amount. The development could have serious implications on interest rates, certain projects in the budget, and the city's stability. Senior economists at the bank, Felix Opon, tells Joy Business these concerns are not out of place. He, however, backs government's decision to put the fundraising on hold, at least for now.
There is a timing effect. Obviously, there's a timing effect, and government, I think, that made a prudent decision. This bond has the World Bank guarantee on it, and so the cost that that government is going to bear is expected to be lower. Now, the timing is relevant, and I think that the decision they took to study the market a little bit more is a prudent decision. Of course, it has implications on the reserves position, and it depends on the demand for dollar also. And so if we move into a season where there's a higher demand for dollar, obviously you are going to have implications on the reserve position of government.
Now, spend 70 to 80% of your time dealing with issues related to the supply of foreign currencies if you really want the city to attain some reasonable stability. This is the charge from Managing Director of Stanbic Bank, Alhassan Andani, to managers of the economy. There are fresh fears about the city's performance following government's failure to issue the $1.5 billion Eurobond. And although the cocoa syndication loan is expected to hit the central bank's account to boost its reserves, some analysts are skeptical it would sustain the city's performance. Mr. Andani, who was guest speaker at the Super Morning Show this morning, shared the perfect trick to stabilizing the city.
I think where we are getting it wrong, for me, it's back to the fundamentals of economics, that the US dollar, or foreign currency in which we bring in all of our imports, is not our currency. Anywhere in the world, the way you get it is to package goods and services from your country and sell to foreigners and bring in the foreign currency in order to redistribute to units that require it to bring in either finished goods or intermediate goods. In Ghana, chronically and structurally, we have a huge deficit where our demand for foreign currency to fund imports, far exceeds the supply or the units that produce goods and services for export to generate foreign currency. And that is where we should be, as a people, addressing our minds to. We should be addressing our minds to an economic structure that has at least an even balance of people or enterprises that produce goods and services for export as enterprises that demand foreign currency. That is the structural thing all of us as a people have to address our mind to. In the interim, there's distribution issues. Whatever stock you have, how do you distribute it in such a way that you have stability within the market? So those are issues anybody can speak about.
GCB Bank has partnered international money transfer company RIA to extend its money transfer services for the banking public. According to the bank, the service will now be available in all 147 branches. Speaking with Joy Business at the launch, Managing Director Simon Donu said customers now have the opportunity to choose from an array of transfer services on the GCB RIA platform.
I think we bring together our strengths to provide you with a service that we already provide, but we think that we need to actually expand to bring across to our customers. This is a money transfer product. You know that we have so many migrants who live abroad who want to bring monies to their families back home. And it's important that as we local banks, we make it possible for them to do that. Ria Money Transfer is a global bank. It's a global money transfer company, the third largest in the country, in the world. And you know that GCB is the largest bank in Ghana, the largest local bank in Ghana, with about 157 branches. And together we can facilitate that by bringing service to the customers.
Now, I'm sure you're wondering how your stocks are faring. Let me take you through how your stocks are faring on the world market. Now, if you come to our top 3 gainers, we are looking at Unilever. I'll just take you through the Unilever figures. As at 3 p.m. today, close of business, we had the current price was at 7.79, and then previously it was 7.73, and so the price change is only about 0.06, and then I'm sure you can see the percentage here. Let's look at the losers. The top loser, GGBL, the open price was 2 cedi, but as of 3 p.m. today, when markets closed, it was 1.98, and then I'm sure you can see the price change here. Now let's come to commodities. Let's go to the forex market and the cedi. So those who want to buy cedi is at 3 cedi 80 pesos for those who want to buy, and then for those who want to sell, it's at 3 cedi 67 pesos. Let's go to the euro. The euro is buying at 4 cedi 2 pesos, and then it's also selling at 4.07 pesos. So for those who want to sell, cedi against the euro. Now, cedi against the British pound, it's buying at 5 cedi 80 pesos, and it's selling at 5 cedi 52 pesos for those who want to buy. Basically, that's how your stocks are faring. All right, so this is where we draw curtains on how your stocks are faring on the stock market. So now you know what to invest in and what to leave out. So my name is Eton. I'm saying that's how I wrap up with business.
You're welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, former MPP presidential aspirant Alan Chamanting is a prominent member of the party's leader, or the party leaders' entourage on a tour in the Barima region. The two men have in the past 4 weeks leading the divisive element within the party, and so it is quite interesting to see them on the same platform, urging party unity. In his speech to regional and constituency executives of the party in the Barima region, Mr. Chamanting described Nanado as his brother.
We shouldn't just say nice things for the sake of it. Nana Akufo-Addo is my brother. But unity is nothing without campaigning. We must start the campaign before it's even launched. Campaigning is all about work done at the polling station. Let's campaign at the grassroots and ensure we win, especially for those of you contesting in the primaries. Because Ghana's governance system is such that it is difficult to be in parliament without a president. It is only when Nanado becomes president that you can consider yourself as being in power. People will look at their current situation to vote. We can make all effort, but they will be futile without a proper voters register. Drum that message home. This is where champions of democracy like Kofi Ebrifabuzia hail from. We must honor him with victory in 2016.
We are going to honor him. Yes. The victory of 2016 is going to honor Kofi Ebrifabuzia and the vision that he had for Ghana. Nani Chitia, Ewo, Misramo, Moma, Ron Afo, Ma Entiasia. Say me mama politics no say the Bible here me who ye about the
Let the people of Brona have to understand that I am not into politics to enrich myself. Let them trust in my ability to lift this country up. Those of you contesting at the constituency level, let's work with this message. Followers of the Busia tradition should be in majority in this region. I am here for all Ghanaians, irrespective of their ethnic background.
Now imagine sitting in a classroom without a roof over your head. That's a situation that confronts dozens of school children at the new Bawe MA school. The torn roofs on their school block means that the pupils are left at the mercy of the weather. Latif Idris visited the school and filed this report.
Again, it starts with what? No, it starts with the sound book.
The Malam cluster of schools has 13 different schools from kindergarten to junior high schools, all on the same compound. This block houses kindergarten 1 and 2 of New Bawe MA 1 and 2 school. Sadly though, the torn roofing sheet exposes these toddlers to harshness of the weather. According to the class teacher, Madam Constance Nto Amwa, the situation gets worse whenever it rains.
When there's rain, we have to struggle. Maybe we join the class 1 children in their classroom. So that when it stops, before we come. But the whole place will be flooded. We have to sweep the water away before we come and stay here.
The situation, according to Madam Constance Nto, has adversely affected classwork. So you are always at the mercy of the weather, what being it's a rainy day or a sunny
day. Yeah.
So it's affecting their performance?
It is affecting their performance.
Because obviously if they don't come to school, they miss some lessons. They miss
some lessons. And when they don't come and 3 or 4 people come, by all means, since some have come, you have to teach them. So it is affecting some of them too.
We met with Rebecca Dede Akrashi, who had come to the school to check on the performance of her wards. She tells me the situation is so bad, she has on some occasions felt the need to help.
The
situation is very bad, especially whenever it rains. Sometimes I come in to help the class teacher to move the furniture out of the class. We want authorities to step in and roof the building.
The circuit supervisor of the school, Mr. Samson Yao Bruku, who spoke to me off the record, said plans are far advanced to fix the situation. But Madam Constance tells me similar promises have not been fulfilled in the past. Latif Idris, Joy News, Malam, Accra.
The John Kufuor Foundation today launched a scholarship scheme to train what officials call transformational leaders. Chief Executive Officer of the foundation, Bafo Ajimengdua, says the first batch of scholars will be selected this year through an online application portal.
Is an initiative to train what we may call transformational leaders. We are targeting students in the tertiary institutions. We starting with about 15-20 students. We give them scholarships for 3 years. Then during that period, they will be subjected to all kinds of activities that hopefully will build their character and give them better orientation for nationalism and patriotism. So besides the scholarship, the amount that we give them, they will have opportunities to be interacting with the former president, as well as special guests who visit the president. As you know, the former president received a lot of guests. Kofi Annan comes all the time, other foreign dignitaries come. Whenever they come to town, we hope to get our scholars to interact with these people. Also during the summer vacation, the long vacation, they will be put together in a rural community in the country where they will provide service for 3 weeks for the rural communities, supporting their development efforts, and many other such activities that hopefully will mold them into good citizens as they grow up.
Why the need for this special scholarship program?
You know, after 8 years as president, President Kufuor feels strongly that the key to Africa's development, and for that matter, the development of our own country, is leadership. If you have good leader, you are bound to have good governance. And when you have good governance, certainly your development will take place.
Now, prosecutors on Tuesday withdrew charges leveled against a Kumasi-based couple alleged to have burned the hand of a toddler leading to the loss of 5 fingers. But just as they walked out of their square courtroom, the couple were rearrested. Correspondent Erastus Asare was in court and joins me now on the telephone with more. Good evening to you, Erastus.
Good evening, Israel.
All right, please explain why this couple was rearrested after they had been set free by the court.
Well, I've just been told by the prosecution that they wanted to scale up the case in another court because they felt that looking at the charges causing unlawful harm and the degree of harm caused, they feel that they need to change the court. And so when they came in court today, if you see the couple, they were looking down all the time in a somber mood, and the prosecution read out the instructions given by the head of prosecution that they are supposed to withdraw all charges. And so the judge went ahead and discharged the two. I saw the handcuffs being removed from their hands, and then shortly afterwards, they stepped out of the court. They were rearrested, and I was told that they are going to prefer fresh charges against them in a circuit court higher than the magistrate court that they were brought in.
All right, we also hear there was quite a bit of support for the couple. Why, and why are they supporting them?
These are family members of the couple, both the man and the wife. And so they came there in their numbers, and they were not happy with me specifically, that they claim I have hyped the story too much. And so this is nothing. In local parlance, one told me that meaning sometimes people give death and they die. So what is so strange about this, that you have to hype it in such a way, and we feel it's not going to get anywhere. At the end of the day, they are going to go scot-free. Those were some of the comments that they were passing outside. And so at the point when they were bringing the couple out, and we tried to take videos of them, then they told us in plain language that if we are men, we should dare try to raise any camera in front of them. They will show us where power lies. One particular person told me he knows where I stay, and so they are going to come to my house. So it happened like a drama outside the courtroom, and some policemen had to come in and they dispersed.
Right, that's quite a rather serious threat. Are you doing anything about it?
I've already told the head of prosecutions I'm supposed to file a formal complaint tomorrow.
All right, please do. Thank you very much, Erastus Asare. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll bring you international news. Time now for the JNITs, and there's no Efuakwa Racing. There's Aisha Ibrahim. Good evening to Aisha.
Good evening, Israel. I'm enjoying myself on JNI.
Oh, you are already?
Yeah, already.
Good to have you. What's coming up on JNI?
Of course, there have been quite a number of accidents involving domestic airlines over the last 2 years. So we'll be telling you whether the latest has affected public confidence in air transport. Also, how bizarre can the punishment of a child be? To what extent would you go to reprimand your wayward or stubborn child? We'll tell you the approach used by some parents in Atlanta. My name is Aisha Ibrahim, and we'll be back within the hour with more on interactive segment on Joy News Prime.
Right, certainly. So you can expect to have Aisha when we come back for in the second hour. Now, we also have in the second hour entertainment with Ms. G, and then we also have sports all coming up, plus a few more stories on Joy News Prime. Please stay tuned. We'll be back in a bit. You're watching Joy News Prime, in time now for a recap of our top stories. Investigations are underway into an accident involving a Istanbul airline plane which overshot the runway upon landing at the Tamale airport with 76 passengers and crew. Newly constituted metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies have been inaugurated across the country. Lawyer for one of 7 High Court judges suspended for the alleged involvement in judicial corruption has challenged the evidence used to implicate his client. In other stories, there was a fire outbreak at the Malata market in Accra on Tuesday. Though the cause of the blaze is unknown, eyewitnesses told Joy News it spread so fast. The traders were, however, able to put it out before the arrival of the fire personnel. Derek Ekosam has the rest of the story.
When we arrived at the scene, shop owners were busily going through the rubble to salvage what they could from the ruins. Burnt foodstuff and oil were seen on the ground, painting a picture of the items housed in the structures. The structures, mostly made of wood, had succumbed to the fiery flames due to their combustible nature. Shop owners say they now have to start life from the scratch.
Before I can see the smoke, how the smoke the flew. So immediately I ran. And I came in.
So how many shops are here and what are the items that are put in the shops that are here?
Oh, as you can see, as a manager, as you can see, they have oil, red oil and fried and rice. So many different items. You can see the maize and beans, so many things. That is what we lost.
So how many shops are here in all?
If I would lie, we have, say, 6 shops.
I heard people talk of a fire incident in one of the shops. That's when I stood up to find my shops in flames. I chose to save my life instead of my wares. All my goods have been burnt. I've lost more than 30 bags of rice and maize. Only God can help me regain my lost items.
We heard a loud sound and saw smoke in our rooms. We then ran out, leaving our properties behind. I had some gallons of oil in the shop. The structures are made of wood.
Chairman of the Malata Market Association believes the fire could have been caused by a spark in one of the shops where fuel was sold. He says his outfit will do all it can to evict those traders from the market.
Some people sell fuel here, petrol, diesel, and kerosene. So whenever you approach those people to stop that kind of this thing that they are doing here, we find it difficult. They sometimes fight the leadership in the market. And this time around, once we have experienced this fire, in fact, we are going to fight them seriously so that in future, something like this will not happen in the market again.
For Joy News, Derek Ekosam, Malata, Accra.
Former local government minister Captain Krabby Efadate is challenging the evidence supplied by journalist Anas Aremio Anas to back his accusation that some judges were bribed to throw cases. Captain Efadate is lawyer for one of the judges implicated in the corruption scandal, Justice Gilbert Ayisi Ado. Captain Krabby Efadate joins us on the line for more on this. Good evening to you, Captain Krabby.
Good evening.
All right, so what is wrong with the NAS's case against Justice Ayisi Ado?
Please, with the greatest respect, the question again.
All right, so I'm asking, what do you find wrong with this evidence that you're saying has been presented to implicate your client?
You see, my client is the High Court Judge of Second Day, Mr. Justice Ayisi Ado. According to him, he was in his house when two visitors came there, a clerk of the High Court and a stranger he did not know. Now, when you read the transcript and when you watch the audio visual, you will see that there was no discussion about money, exchange of money, the handing over of money, the giving of money, and the receipt of nothing whatsoever was discussed like that. Indeed, at a point in time when the stranger indicated that he wanted to give the judge something for petrol, he told him to get out of his house. And he left and went upstairs to his bedroom. Now, these are the facts regarding Justice Ayisi Ado. So I do not see how they can say that he is involved in collecting bribe or receiving bribe. Now, the transcript and the audiovisual says that they put the money under on his table under a chair. But he was not made aware that they have put money on his table. And he's not the only one who has access to the hall. So who did they give the money to? Did they really leave money there anyway? So basically, I do not see how any court of competent jurisdiction can convict justice. You see it.
All right. Now, Captain, your client submitted himself to the proceedings by the Chief Justice of the Judicial Committee. Did he make these things known to them?
Yes. Initially, the Chief Justice wrote to him that he should look at the transcript, he should look at the audio visual, and then he should make his response to enable the Chief Justice to determine whether there is a prima facie case against him. So he wrote his response, and it is based on his response that the Chief Justice has concluded, I think wrongfully, that a prima facie case has been made against him and that he should appear before the panel.
Why?
We shall appear before the panel and we shall make our point known.
All right. Why didn't you choose the option of the other High Court judges who decided that they were not going to be part of the process and challenge it in court?
As you said, it is an option. It's not a compulsory option. His lawyers, that is to say myself and my team of lawyers and Nkrabi and Associates, we discussed all the ramifications of the problem, the various causes of action open. And we concluded that he should send his response, and if the CJ says there's a prima facie case, we should go through the due process. As we expect, by the grace of God, when he is acquitted by the committee, we will then decide what next course of action to do to restore his good name.
In the meantime, you're saying that you're going to go along with what the Judicial Committee is doing?
In the meantime, we are going to go to the disciplinary committee or the committee that the Chief Justice will set up and follow it up.
All right. But what do you make of all these investigations by Asare Meyanas?
I think it's unfair. I think it's immoral. I think it's improper. I think it's illegal.
Okay, can you explain?
You see, JFM, the issue is that if you want to find out whether somebody is misconducting himself, you should do it in a proper, acceptable manner. Not in a way where you go to entrap the person, where you go to tempt the person, where you go to pretend that you are this when you are not. And then once you are trying to get him implicated, then you'll be taking pictures. You invade his privacy. You go to his house uninvited and you offer him. You see, in all over the world, when you talk of a crime, there are two elements. The mental element, which we call mens rea, and the actual event itself, which we call actus reus. Now, the mental element, which actually makes an action a crime, is when you decide, you reflect, you soberly think that I want to steal, I want to kill, I want to rape. You know, it is these which are the elements a court looks for in order to decide that somebody is guilty. So if a person, Mr. Justice Moro, is seated in his house with his wife and children, and they are watching television, and he gets visitors, and a visitor comes in to say that, there is this case coming up, and I want to give you money for transport. I want to give you, then you yourself, as you are offering him this money, who knows? For all you know, maybe the whole day his son has been sacked from school and school fees, or his mother is sick, pending surgery in Bole, or maybe his car has broken down and the mechanics are asking him for this, and you come with 2,000 Ghana cedis to tempt him. JFM, the judge is a human being like you and I. Are you saying in America, in UK, in Switzerland, in Australia, are you saying judges there are saints or they are angels? But the system, catches people who are not correct and exposes them. You don't go visiting a judge, invading his privacy, offering him bribe, and you take pictures. And then you come and show it on a screen to the whole world that this man is immoral and he is guilty of stealing. It's not correct. It's not correct. It is not correct, Joy FM.
All right, thank you very much, Captain Nkrabea Fadate, for joining us. And Captain Nkrabea Fadate is lawyer for one of the High Court judges who has been suspended by the Chief Justice for having allegedly involved himself in judicial corruption. We're taking a break. When we come back, we bring you entertainment news. All right, so time for entertainment, and Miss G is here. Good evening to you, Miss G.
Good evening, Easy.
All right, so one of the stories that you have that I heard, and I'm like, what? And you have a number of wow stories coming up this evening. First of all, starting with Dasire Jamna.
Yes. Dasire Jamna is now Sadiq Abubakar. You know, he's been talking to Asempa FM, and he tells them that while he was in London, where he was charged for drug trafficking,
during his time in jail, essentially.
Yes, he actually had the time to learn how to fabricate glazing doors, something that he's yet to practice. Even though he's still willing to do music, he hopes that he'll practice that. But the interesting thing is that he says now he's converted, now he's Muslim, he's no more Christian. So that's how come he's called Sadiq Abubakar. And then he also advised that, you know, young musicians and celebrities do not trust anybody and tread cautiously.
What's his motivation for, wanting to convert to Islam?
Well, he says that this is what he wants to do at this particular point. This is what he wants to do. He wasn't able to tell concretely why.
Why?
Yes.
There's another one.
Yes.
Florian Ponsa says he's going back to secular music.
Yes.
Apparently this has been something he's been talking about for a while.
Oh, a long while. He has been speaking of the fact that, he's going to go secular, but he's going to do love songs. And so it's not going to be anything profane. And all attempts to get him speak directly to the issue has failed. He's always been speaking through his management and all that. But for the first time, after saying to us that he's going to go secular, he performs where at the Lumba 51st birthday concert.
All right, so he's saying that essentially he's not going to do. He's going to stay away from profanity and all
yes.
Yeah, but if you watch the video, you can see this lady there who's shaking and doing all sorts of things at him.
But that's Lumba's concert. That is not his. But the thing is...
but if you get onto the stage, if you're saying that you're trying to stay away from all of that, you get onto the stage and they're going to show you stuff that you wouldn't see if you were in a pulpit.
True. But the thing...
it may make you fall.
But what everybody is wondering is, what will his congregation make of it? That tomorrow you're performing some secular song, and then the next day you come and you say, praise the Lord, hallelujah, amen, and don't sing profane or secular music. Is he going to be able to tell them that? That's what a lot of people are worried about now.
Yeah, and you may be doing secular music, without you stay away from profanity, but you may end up doing music videos where...
Exactly, where you have people come shake your stuff,
Yeah.
You shake what their mama give them, and all that. Well, anyway. We wish him well.
Okay, so Becca.
Yes.
What's up with Becca?
Yes. Becca has been in the United States. She went there because of the sustainable goals, which she was.
Yeah, I actually saw a photo of her with Asha.
With Asha, can we see the images, roll? With Asha, with Richard Branson, And Becca really had a good time.
Asha.
Yes, she had a good time out there. And, amazingly, she was the only African that was allowed to come for the press conference. And she was the only African that was allowed to speak. She gave a speech at the event.
But I think she's doing this with Sarkodie also.
Yes, Sarkodie, and she and Sarkodie are the only Ghanaians on the musical video, or on the song. And we have the likes of Yemi Alade. We have some others from around Africa on that song. But she's the only African that was allowed to the press conference. She spoke, and she said she's been speaking to Richard Branson about the potentials of the Ghanaian youth and all that. But she shares stages with some renowned artists, and she talks about it. Let's hear her talk about it.
Yes, the performance did come on. I was on stage, same stage as Beyonce was on, which was fantastic. Not just her alone. We had Coldplay, we had some crazy ones that people don't even know in Ghana, Pearl Jam and all that on the stage. Common came on, Asha came on, and so Ed Sheeran, who I love very much. So yes, definitely the stage was huge, and we definitely performed. I performed the African song that we did in South Africa, which was to promote them, which was to communicate the vision of the youth to the African youth. We performed that song there, and I must say it was fantastic. So we did share stage with Beyonce and all the other big acts.
Okay, that's good. I mean, she's going places. That's how far music.
And you know, she has a new song. It's called Share, and it's Share Dio Odo Diayeme. She speaks positively about her love life. She says it's from a personal experience, you know.
It has nothing to do with Bisakade.
No, neither does it have anything to do with Kiki Banton.
Okay, I mean, I don't know about Kiki Banton, but yeah, about Bisakade.
No.
No, maybe you never know. Have you asked her? Probably she did a song for...
She says Bisakade is for the future.
Yes, but...
Not now. So anything she does now doesn't have anything to do with Bisakade.
you never know. You never know.
But easy. Imagine gospel music this way. Let's listen.
Okay, that's cool.
Yes.
I have no problem with this. Like Kirk Franklin's... Kirk Franklin has a song like that. Like,
okay, which of his songs?
That's like a
Imagine,
banga,
or which, okay. Or Stump.
Stump.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a stump.
Okay.
So it's cool.
Okay.
I think it's cool.
So this group is called, you're called the Preachers. And you know, one thing about them is that they say they're called, they do contemporary gospel, and this is called urban gospel. But they talk about the fact that it was difficult for them initially to have churches invite them over, because you know, there's like, okay, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're singing gospel like
it's too funky.
Exactly. But what caught my attention is one of your songs, which is called Juju. You know, over some weeks now, we've had complaints about from the likes of Kwekubun. I'm talking about the fact that some pastors come to him for powers. Now, I've spoken to Benny Zansal, who is also a gospel musician. She tells me that, you know, some people who are also musicians or gospel musicians have called her or attempted to take her for powers elsewhere. So they have a song called Juju, or titled Juju. So I kept asking, I said, why do you do the song No Juju? Is it because you know for a fact that in the industry you belong to, there are people who actually go for some powers to do music? And this is what Preachers had to say.
I'm not exactly aware of any gospel artists using juju, but this is the world we are living in, and anything is possible. So as you're saying, behind every rumor there's an iota of truth, so it's probably true.
Well, they should keep juju out of
this you should check out that track, No Juju. It's a beautiful one.
But you should have let us listen to or watch a bit more of the
Meyiwaye. Oh, you love it?
The funky vibe. Yeah, I think it's good. And they're pretty surely you get to listen to it a bit more. Next thing you know, it's wearing on you. Yeah.
Well, I take note of that. But let's talk about Don Jazzy and D'banj. You know, it used to be Mohit's production that was between Don Jazzy and D'banj. They were together as Mohits, and then there was a split, and they refused to talk about what actually happened between them. And then Don Jazzy moved on to do the Mavens. That's how come we have Mavens now. But you know, everybody thinks that there's still some issue between D'banj and Don Jazzy, and that's how come they can work together. Don Jazzy has said on several occasions that he has no issues with D'banj. And I remember at Two-Face's 40th birthday concert, Two-Face actually pleaded with them to do another song together. Well, Don Jazzy says, look, if you keep listening to the media, you will get the wrong info. They actually work together, Snapchatting. Let's watch it.
Does it mean that eventually, very soon, we should be getting something from...
Hopefully. And the other guy you saw in the video is D'banj's younger brother. He's called K-Switch.
Okay.
Yes. So let's talk about Spectre. I know I've told you the fact that there's a new James Bond movie titled Spectre, and the fact that Sam Smith is going to be on with a theme song. Now the theme song is already out. It's called Writing on the Wall. I want you to see it, and I'm sure you're going to love it.
Time for sports, and Gary Al Smith is here. Good evening to you, Gary.
Hello, Izzy.
I like your outfit. You have some African print somewhere on the...
Better than Daniel Craig.
All right. Have you heard the new James Bond Spectre?
Yep. The soundtrack?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, always one of the things I look out for, and especially with the success of the last one, Skyfall.
Yeah, but how does this compare to Skyfall?
Always cheesy, you know. I'll take time to warm up to it, but I'm sure with a lot of radio play, I'll get used to it.
Yeah, but I love the previous. I love Skyfall.
Yeah, you did?
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't.
I loved Skyfall.
I loved it as well. I mean, it's not typical James Bond fare because it wasn't all action, and for the first time, James Bond was given a weakness, which is abnormal. Although his womanizing is an inspiration.
To you?
Yes!
All right, what's coming up in sports?
There's a lot coming up, thank you, Izzy. And time now for the sports, nothing to do with womanizing and don't mind me. But in serious business, Ben Nunu Mensah, who is one of the heads of the sports federations, has accused the finance and sports ministries for causing delay in release of funds to the federation. Now, he's the boss of the Ghana Weightlifting Federation. They were one of the federations that represented the country at the recent All-Africa Games where Ghana won 19 medals, and he's reacted angrily to the crisis at the ministry.
That we're talking about, that is our problem. When a national team has to travel, in our case, you prepare the budget, save the Black Cranes, which is the national weightlifting team, or if the Golden Rackets, that's the national long tennis team, have to travel. They will prepare a budget and then give it to the National Sports Authority, who would then forward it to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, where I believe we all get our funding from. Anytime the budget gets to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the same old story. There is no money. Our allocation from finance is finished. We don't have anything. So as we speak now, whether it is the Ministry of Youth and Sports who have the money and yet still they refuse to give it to the least finance sports, we don't know. Or if what they are telling us that it is the finance ministry who doesn't give them the money to give to us, we also don't know. So as to who is the cause of our problem, but I know that our problem doesn't come from the presidency because we always get approval from the presidency. But when it gets back to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, they tell you there is no money because finance ministry has not given us the money. Between the two ministries, we don't know who is telling us the truth. So
the man, very, very livid, isn't he? Anyway, this was at a press conference this morning organized by all the other sporting federations except football who were at the All-Africa Games to tell us what exactly happened, give us a report of what happened in Congo-Brazzaville, and also to speak about their frustrations, their challenges, and also what they consider to be good news. And also at that function was Honorable Ken Jirasa. Now, he called for the stakeholders summit to address issues affecting the so-called less financed sports.
I think the federations have not marketed themselves sufficiently. That was why I was advocating for a stakeholders summit. We must keep this subject of the lesser funded sports on the banner. Now, the reason why it has to be so is that any time that there is football in our lives, we forget everything. And it cannot happen like that. Because there are countries where football is not necessarily their top priority. And they have excelled. Look at Jamaica. In athletics, they have excelled and beautifully. So it is important that we keep reminding the leadership of sports in this country that we have been placed far behind in the development of the lesser funded sports, and for which reason we are asking them to bring us up to date on what we should be doing, when we should be doing it, and more particularly, it is important that when there is a budget, the budget is honored.
Honorable Ken Jirasa speaking there. Moving over and out of Ghana, let's do some ATP Tour news. Yesterday, we did bring you the news about the two Spanish players who entered the final of the ATP World Tour. But today, another Spaniard and a Serb have progressed to the next round of the China Open in Beijing. I'm talking about two athletics, more specifically to South Africa, where Oscar Pistorius is still trending. He's been told to remain in jail after the decision to grant him parole was delayed.